across 2 days. That was Monday and Tuesday. But let's work back on Morocco first then. Well, they knocked out the Korea Republic in the quarterfinals, and then it was Thailand they took down in those semis to face Malaysia. The Malaysia took down Japan. India, we've mentioned that, to find themselves in the semis. Cole, would you just talk us through a little bit more about their run to get here?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this final against Malaysia is going to be a different proposition for Morocco than what they faced in Thailand, who are
the grand final, because they know each other really well. But today's a different story. They completely focus attention the whole world, but in a best of 3 format, which means they have way more time to predict what their opponents are going to do, activate your plan B, C. You know, we see in the camera, they have the whole team surrounding them to give those inputs at the last moment to keep them calm and see what they are not seeing playing the game. So we'll see. Really, really important match, the first one for sure.
I'd also add as well that in the matchup that they had in the group stage, it was yet another example of Malaysia going behind and still ending up winning. So if you're watching this one and you're a Malaysian fan or you're a Moroccan fan, you cannot relax if Morocco go 1-0 up. Malaysia, the comeback king, really, in Mbappe, which is just so impressive to keep doing it over and over again. But I do feel that snowballs. You know, you start to believe, even if you go behind, you rally and come back stronger, and you know that it's going to happen.
Well, the Malaysian side are called the Malayan Tigers in terms of the national football team, and Alex actually got to catch up with Mbappe yesterday.
Well, we are here with one of our finalists, Mbappe, representing Malaysia. Final day, but most importantly, how do you feel?
I feel good, and I'm also excited and confident to play the final match today.
We saw you on group stage. You face Morocco, you face Tienes. That time you won. Do you think you know how to beat Tienes again?
I met him before at group stage, but for final, these two countries also for sure want to win the final. So basically, I will beat him again in the final.
Oh, great confidence we see. And you know, for wrap it up, your country, your nation, your community are rooting for you. Any message you wanna send to them?
Untuk semua rakyat Malaysia, saya harap semua boleh dapat doakan saya untuk hari ini, untuk final match, untuk angkat piala untuk Malaysia buat kali pertama. InsyaAllah saya akan buat terbaik untuk banggakan Malaysia. Terima kasih. Minta semua doakan saya. Yes.
Terima kasih everyone there in Malaysia. See you final day World Cup FIFA here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
I love his confidence. Out to end the mobile side of proceedings. Well, this is going to be great. Audience here, I hope you're going to enjoy this one. Everyone at home watching as well, enjoy this. This is going to be one for the history books. The FIFA E World Cup Grand Finals featuring eMobiles. We have Malaysia taking on Morocco in the company of Harry Channon and Stuart Wesley.
The two nations in front of us have been on a collision course since they last met in the group stages. Here in Riyadh, we started with 16. We're down to the final 2. But who will have the last laugh here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? We are underway, folks. Morocco against Malaysia to be World Cup winners 2024, and the first strike of the finals goes the way of Malaysia, but wide.
Oh, thank you very much for throwing me in here, Harry. An early chance straight off the bat. And Malaysia just trying to put their best foot forward. He just crept past the post, but they've had the ball for the first 6 minutes of the game. Morocco now are going to have their first opportunity of having possession of the ball.
If it's your first time watching eFootball Mobile, I don't think you could have joined us at a more opportune moment, because this is almost guaranteed to be fireworks. That's a mistake from Morocco, as Malaysia will threaten Morocco in the opening 10, not once but twice, and could be 3 times as Fikri, the first goal! The first goal scored in the grand finals comes the way of Malaysia.
Yeah, Morocco said in the prelude that there was a little bit of luck the last time they played. There wasn't any luck about that. That is all deliberate from Mbappe. It's the through ball into the box, and we've seen those first-time shots again and again be so critical to success here. They said beautiful finish to the opposite side. Bono had absolutely no chance into the corner, and Malaysia have themselves a vital one-goal lead.
First blood goes to Malaysia. Keep an eye on those heart rates, folks. You see on the overlay at the bottom of your screen, those are live beats per minute from our finalists here on mobile. Fikri has already scored once, and Malaysia, they want to do it again! It's the 1-2 punch! The dream start for Mbappe! 2-0.
It's a brilliant start. It is an electric start from Malaysia. We saw they took down Japan, they took down India to get here, and now they are 2 goals ahead already against Morocco. You can see Mbappe trying to urge himself to calm down, but his heart rate's giving the game away, Harry.
It's all over the shop. It was 160 to start and down to 140 after his first goal, but that is shot right back up now. It's like a shot of adrenaline there on the stage. And this could not have started any better for Mbappe and the Malaysian contingent here in the desert. Tienes has only been handed one loss prior to this grand final, and it was to Malaysia back in the group stages. He's been flawless since.
He has been, but it is a different Malaysia that has come through to meet him here. Yes, they won 2-1 in the group stage, but now they've got the confidence of beating some heavy hitters along the way, and now the pressure is off. There's nothing left to lose for Malaysia. They can just throw everything at it.
And they're doing so here again. It's Fikri in the box. So Stuart Wilkin! Oh, it's like a knife through butter! It shouldn't be this easy, but that's just how good Mbappe is in game one.
Hot knife through butter, Harry. That is wonderful play from Malaysia. Looking for that extra pass. We'll see the replay again. And Tienes, I think it's just a little bit shocked by everything. We'll see it again here. It's looking for this extra pass. It's this one here.
Oh. Instead
of shooting with Fikri as he did before, that seed of doubt is there. Extra ball goes to Wilkin. And Malaysia have an early third.
Not even 25 minutes have gone. And it's Malaysia 3, Morocco 0. But can they change that with this attack? The answer to that question is no. The answer to the question I'm interested in, Wes, is this going to be a third disappointing tournament for Tienes this year? We saw him back in February in Barcelona lose in the finals on penalties there. He qualified for the World Finals in Tokyo in July, didn't make it out of groups. Is it going to be third time the charm or the curse here for Morocco's Tienes?
It could potentially be, because Malaysia are building once again. It's Fikri in on the goal, pulls that one wide, but it's all Malaysia at this point in time.
It is. We see it here with the replay. They're just able to connect with almost every single pass we saw last night here in the arena. Malaysia and Mbappe playing out such a scrappy best of 3 against India. Lots of blocked passing lanes, lots of interceptions, blocks. It was gritty stuff. You wouldn't believe it seeing Mbappe play here. Morocco, what can you show us here? It'll be a corner to come as half-time is on the horizon.
Well, as you mentioned, if this is your first time watching eFootball Mobile, you'll notice top left-hand corner, the time ticks down incredibly quickly as Rabi delivers a ball into the box. They will need a response early.
Oh, and again, but too close to the goalkeeper there. Mbappe said beforehand he was excited to get the final underway because of the scale of the occasion. So far, so good. He's risen to said occasion. He's beaten his man there. Where's the burst of pace? Is there a 1-2?
There will be 3 minutes
Perhaps.
added time.
3 minutes added on here at the end of the first half. This is a best of 3. And of course, it's only the first half, which now is in the books. Malaysia 3, Morocco 0.
What a start for Malaysia. They have came right out of the blocks. We did mention all the way through the last 3 days of competition that this slight change in stage may just have a little bit of an effect, because you're no longer in your own pod, you're no longer, penned into your own little bit of this arena. Instead, you are surrounded by fans, you've got players, and everybody is cheering along for one team or the other, and it's something you're going to have to handle.
As we're underway in half number 2 between Malaysia and Morocco, going for goal. That will be nice and easy for the goalkeeper there. Speaking about disappointment earlier on in the year for Tienes of Morocco, Mbappe recently at a tournament just 2 weeks ago, I believe you were telling me, Wes, also had his own disappointment, losing in a grueling fashion in a best of 5 in game 5 to Thailand, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. And this is Mbappe's only his second international tournament representing Malaysia. So
Wow.
you can see he's playing with freedom.
And confidence to go with that freedom. Does well to win himself a corner there, the goalkeeper. Forced into action.
Yeah, you can just see the pressure just ramping up here for Malaysia. They understanding that the occasion is simple. Yes, you have a 3-goal lead, but you can't go into your shell and allow this Morocco attack to basically come at you. Instead, they are keeping Morocco penned back, and Tienes is just trying to find a way to just stop the rot a little bit here.
Morocco, number 19, number 11, number 10.
Here's the resulting corner. Matthew Davies waiting. Oh, that's a nice dummy, but Amrabat
Number 23.
intervenes.
The attendance for this match was 71,550.
1 hour gone. And Tienes hasn't really had a look at goal. This could change if he can muscle his way through, doing everything he can to get that ball towards the Malaysian goal. Mbappe's heart rate has come down a little bit, and I think Tienes will try and raise that as best he can, but so difficult to win these engagements on mobile when there is so much at stake. Here come Morocco though, good period for them, as El Kabi is sadly denied. And now Malaysia, can they win this little tussle, this jockeying battle towards the Moroccan goal? They want 4. Trying to beat the first man, to try and get a cross in, make his way to the line. Who knows, but he's dwelled on it for a little bit too long there. And we're getting into the territory where we need to see goals quickly from Tienes of Morocco if this improbable comeback is going to happen here in game 1.
Yeah, and the passing lanes just keep getting cut out by Malaysia every time. Tienes looks like he's got a ball forward. He's just meeting a Malaysian defender, and he just can't get into that natural rhythm. It's almost as though Malaysia have just become almost automatic. They're not playing with that adrenaline. Instead, they have this eerie calmness despite the heart rate you see at the bottom of your screen.
3 goals in the opening 25 minutes for Malaysia. Sets them in really good stead, and Fikri, he can choose how he finishes this one. So much time! Oh! It is not a 4th.
He had so much time there, did Mbappe. Again, it's a brilliant save by the goalkeeper. That really would have been the exclamation point on game 1 in this best of 3.
Well, we're slowly but surely heading towards Morocco's only 2nd loss of the entire tournament.
There will
And
be
sadly
1
for them,
minute
it will be a
added time.
2nd handed to them by the same nation. Malaysia win game 1. And in the best of 3, they sit on 2 championship points against Morocco.
What a shock to start us off here in the final of the FIFA E World Cup on the mobile platform. Is that I think the guys even said on the desk that this game's going to go 3 games. It's going to have to go to 3 games now if TNS wants a shot at being the FIFA E World Cup champion.
It just could not have started any better for Malaysia. Could it, Wes? I mean, 25 minutes gone and you find yourself 3 goals to the good. Pretty unheard of at this level, especially in a grand final. What do you think the Moroccan committee, the coaching staff behind TNS is saying to him right now?
I think they've got to get around their man and basically say, look, you got here through beating quite a few nations on your path. You are one of the best mobile players in the world, and just try and pump that confidence up within TNS. But for Mbappe, is it more of the same? Do you just stay with the same tactic, Harry? What do you do if you were in this scenario?
I don't want to know
this,
that.
but it's a valuable question for Mbappe. Does he change it and try and play a bit more cagey, or does he just go out with the same attacking prowess? Because we certainly saw it at will during that game.
We did indeed. It's been a long year of eFootball competitions. And it's come down to this. This is the journey. The last tournament of 2024. The last chance to cement your legacy, to pin your name on this year and into the history books. Malaysia have one hand on that glorious trophy. In the middle of that stage, TNS and Morocco, they have to rise to the occasion now. The Atlas Lions have fans here in Riyadh, around the world, passionate fans, as do Malaysia. And they want nothing more than to see a game number 3. And I won't lie, no disrespect to Malaysia here, I would love to see a game 3.
So would I, because these two, on paper at the very least, are so closely and evenly matched. And as TNS said in his prelude, he felt as though that Malaysia were a bit lucky in that group stage game and that there was a one-on-one that he didn't manage to convert. Here, though, it is a totally different scenario. You are now very much backs against the wall and very much a case of you've got to win to stay in the race in this competition.
Just thinking back to the routes that these two nations had coming out of Group B in the knockout stages. It was easy for Morocco. There was no adversity, really. Quarterfinals, beat the Korea Republic 2-0, kept clean sheets in both games. Semi-finals, up against the previously undefeated Thailand. Won the best of 3, 2 games to 0. This is the first time in a long time TNS finds himself under a bit of scrutiny here. And it's a different stage, as you rightly pointed out, Wes. Here in the grand final, you are up there, not quite on an island. You've got your coaching staff behind you, but there are a lot. In fact, all eyes on this match.
Yeah, it kind of feels a little bit kind of like the Colosseum. It feels like you've got 2 warriors sat in the middle and there is an audience waiting to find out who will become the victor. But as you quite rightly said, TNS under now a fair bit of pressure, to say the very least, and more so, you've got to get off in this game as quickly as Malaysia did against him in game 1.
Headset about to go on, it looks like. You can see the Malaysian contingent so confident, relaxed, smiling. They have been this entire week.
Feels like the smiling assassins. Like they're just here, just say, hey, actually, we're having fun. We're okay. We're going to be fine. If we just keep our spirits up and keep our energy up, then everything else takes care of itself. Meanwhile, Morocco are just in that little bit of almost, let's say, panic mode right now, because they know that it's a very short space of time, and if TNS doesn't come out of this game with a victory, whether it comes by the way of 90 minutes extra time or penalty kicks, it's over.
Well, here in the Grand Colosseum, it's a showdown between the Atlas Lions and the Malayan Tigers for the right to hoist that beautiful piece of silverware come the end of this grand final. It is Malaysia on championship point, on World Cup point, kicking us off in the all-black strip. Morocco, you need a response here for TNS, for Morocco, for Africa. I think the order of the day for Morocco will be, okay, let's try not to go 3-0 down in the opening 25 minutes. That might make the job a little easier here in game 2. Heart rate seems a little increased from TNS in comparison to game number 1. "15 minutes gone, and it's nervy. It's nervy here in the desert, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for the grand finals."
Yeah, the nerves are starting to ramp up. The crowd are starting to make a little bit of noise as well here. Certainly chance of Malaysia being heard in the arena.
And here they come on the charge. Fikri will be the man they try and get on the ball. But look at this, TNS. A goal here would do wonders for his confidence here on the stage. And it's gone all the way through. There are 4 red shirts here. Double touch into that stunning strike. Purple power bar. But it dribbles all the way through into the Malaysian goalkeeper's hands. Much closer here in game 2 in the opening half an hour. And that's a offside from Mbappe.
We've certainly got a moment to catch our breath here with that offside call. But that chance, or half chance for TNS with that double touch into the stunning strike, we've seen him do it before in the group stages and in the knockouts. It's a real go-to move for him if he can get the opportunity.
Oh, that's a really good ball now into the box, but trying to find his teammate instead of maybe going for it alone. Means now the ball will come the other way. Mbappe would make history for Malaysia. Would make history in the FIFA E-World Cup as the first eFootball mobile winner. They lead the best of 3, 1-0 at this moment in time. But game 2, in the first half at the very least, TNS has made some good adjustments. Wilkins won that ball back. Here he is on the ball, near side. Just going backwards there to try and get the last attack of the half, but in the end, Morocco 0, Malaysia 0 in half number 1. And interestingly enough, Wes, the free-scoring Malaysia in game 1 held to 0 shots in half 1 of game 2.
Or whatever TNS and the Moroccan team behind him changed between game 1 and 2 has been fantastic for them in this first half. They kept everybody at bay.
Well, second half underway in Malaysia. They must have heard us. Because the Tigers are hungry for a championship, for a trophy. Stuart Wilkin, lovely ball. Fikri's made the run. Oh, he's maintained possession here as well. Finds a teammate! Malaysia! They're hungry for the trophy. Now they have one hand on it.
They've reached out and grabbed it, but they've not taken it under control just yet. But it was fantastic composure from Mbappe. We'll watch it back again. He has plenty of opportunities to take a shot as he runs in. We'll see it again here with Fikri. Just manages to do a little bit of a dribble, takes it round a defender and waits for help. And he finds a teammate in the box who took it away. We'll just see it again there. He had 2 or 3 opportunities, slides it across, and it's as cool and as easy as you like for Malaysia. They're on the cusp of one of the biggest achievements in Malaysian esports.
And the crowd here in Riyadh loved that one as well. The vibes on the Malaysian side of the stage definitely helping to hold up Mbappe, who, truth be told, never really came under any kind of adversity, was unbeaten in this competition up until that semi-final I spoke about against India. Winning game 3 in that particular round, the previous round to this one, secured Mbappe and Malaysia their spot here. For TNS, we need to see a reply.
Number 23.
The first half was good for them, Wes, but so far in the second, it's been one-way traffic. Ball to deal with here as well. And Morocco and TNS must know it's go time. It's now or never.
Very much is now or never. It has to go now. It is win to stay in.
You think back to since this tournament was even announced, the selection process, the qualifying process, the group stages, the knockout rounds. It comes down to this! And I think it's Malaysia's time! Malaysia 2, Morocco 0 in our grand final in game 2.
Could that be the goal that seals it, Harry? Again, it's just doing the things that aren't quite predictable, because Fikri has been a lightning rod for Malaysia throughout this tournament. Instead of taking the shot with him, it's a cheeky little back heel, finds a teammate at the back post and swept home. And the heart rate spikes because I think Mbappe knows just how close he is.
Well, credit to our desk. They said, they analysed that Malaysia, I mean, Cole said it, they will come at Morocco. They will do all they can to shell shock them. Punches in bunches as Malaysia score their 5th goal without reply here in the grand final. And remember, they are on World Cup points here in game 2.
That shot there from our production team was the duality of football fans. One side, it's full of smiles and full of happiness. From Malaysia's side, Moroccan fans are absolutely stunned right now.
There is that silverware. Right now, about 25 in-game minutes separates Malaysia from taking that trophy all the way back to Kuala Lumpur. 5,500 miles away, and it could be 3-0 here again if Morocco aren't careful. They're living so dangerously here, but they have to commit the bodies forward. It's just not working for them, though. Malaysia's game plan working to a T, and Mbappe still chasing goals, still threatening. Ben Seguir, that timer ticking down agonisingly fast for TNS. One of the pre-tournament favourites. Certainly was my pick to go one further than he has this year. Is there anything left in the tank? Ben Seguir from downtown, blocked and cleared up the field by Malaysia. You can see in the camera the Malaysian flag held aloft. They know 5 minutes separate them now from that trophy. And the Olays ring around Riyadh. It's not working for Tienez. Nothing is going his way. 90th minute now. And I do believe if they can survive these 3 minutes of added time, the Malayan Tigers will make history here on our stage in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It is champions Malaysia! They took the long walk down the tunnel. Mbappe made the journey alone, but on the stage he was never alone. He had the nation of Malaysia behind him, and he is, and they are, our champions.
What an achievement it is for Malaysia. They came, they saw, and they absolutely conquered. And the jubilant scenes on our stage show you just what it means to them as a nation. Of course, commiserations to our runner-up Morocco. They've been phenomenal, but right now it is all about Malaysia.
Well, Tienez, Morocco, unbelievable tournament from them. The only African nation made it all the way to the grand final, and they played some amazing eFootball mobile. His time will come, but this time belongs to one man and one nation. It's Mbappe and Malaysia.
It's not bad for only your second international tournament representing Malaysia, and you have come out of it as a champion. What a brilliant performance in the final, and what a fantastic show of sportsmanship from our two finalists.
I don't have enough words to describe our two grand finalists here. Maybe veracity can shed some more light onto how brilliant our champions were, Malaysia.
Wow, wow, wow. What a grand finals that was. But you know what? I think it's time we celebrate each and every single one of our fantastic players here with our medal ceremony. Awarded by His Royal Highness Prince Faisal bin Bandar bin Sultan Al Saud, the President of the Saudi Esports Federation, joined alongside Christian Falk, the Director of Esports and Gaming at FIFA. And now, please put your hands together for your silver medalists, Team Morocco. Tienez, Merjataji, you boys have competed your hearts out on the pitch, and
El 19. Laurano.
Nunca quise llorar, es lo malo,
Los idiomas.
o cosas que están.
Balón para Lamine Yamal. ¡Chuta!
De la lealtad. Y dime dónde está esa mitad que está en lo malo. ¿Dónde está la mitad que nunca se te va? ¿Dónde está la mitad que no habla con lo ajeno? ¿Dónde está la mitad que no te dejará?
Lamine Yamal. Juega por abajo.
La de mi debut con el Barça.
El disparo.
Camino que
Vaya golito.
soñaba con el camino y en el camino yo tropezaba. Soñaba con el camino.
Lamine Yamal é um grande jogador, é um craque que vem surgindo. Obviamente que temos algumas características, né, parecidas, né, no estilo, mas acho que ele tem tudo para se tornar uma das maiores estrelas do futebol mundial.
Odio siempre al enemigo. Todo lo hicimos para soñar.
Leo Messi.
Todo lo hicimos para soñar. Soñar.
¡Golazo de Leo! Messi. Lamine Yamal. ¡Gol! ¡Vaya golazo! Lamine Yamal. ¡Dispara! ¡Es gol! ¡Buena acción! ¡Juega el pase! ¡El disparo! ¡Golazo! ¡Impacta! ¡Fantástico!
I'm Lamine Yamal. The pitch is ours.
In with the challenge. Ferran Torres. It's Batistuta. And Batistuta! Oh no, what is... And one more try! Oh, he's done it! The goal to end it all! That interception was most necessary. That was well played, well stopped. Batistuta charging forward, the ball at his feet. Now it's Ferran Torres. Duric. And there's the clearance. Just eases him off the ball. Castolo. Mignanda. Stood up well to him there. Ferran Torres. Whatever he had in mind, that was not it. Struma. Jimenez. For a moment you felt that was going somewhere, but they'll have to go again. Oh, it's inches away from being a really good ball. Oh, what a mistake! Little doubt, that is a foul. Just a talking to, I think. Yes, it is. Pinches it off him. It's Batistuta. He's had a shot! Mbappe. It's Ferran Torres. There's the shot! Oh, would you believe it? The most decisive of all goals! Alexander-Arnold. He's played him through. And the finish! And again! Oh, would you believe it? The goal to end it all! Mbappe chips it through. So nearly the perfect ball. Yuka. Minyanda.
Whatever happens, that's the kind of movement which raises hope.
Oh, what a climb! Pressing high and with purpose. Ferran Torres. Interesting ball. And there's Greenbrook. That is Snuta! Decisive of all goals. Well, this is just joyous. The perfect backdrop as both sides look to clear the first hurdle. Supporters here in terrific numbers. So will they be going back happy at the end of 90 minutes? Such scenes here. A sea of team colours, songs ringing down from the stands. The tone is set for the 90 minutes ahead. If you're just joining us, we are already underway. Foden. Diaz. So Jim, tell me this, who are you looking for in particular here?
A little bias on my part, but Trent Alexander-Arnold is one of the greatest fullbacks around, certainly when it comes to attacking creativity. So naturally, you'll be bound to see him in the final third, where he can get the very best out of his strengths.
Yeah, he'll certainly be leaving. Oh, what a climb! Oh, just needed a better contact.
Now that was a slick move, and there were several options in the box to pick out.
Pedro Porro. Anything noteworthy in the early part of the match, Jim?
Well, I think both teams probably feel it's too early for either to start taking real risks. So they're still very much in a phase of testing the waters and sizing each other up.
Gray. And it's Davis. It's looking wide. Oh, the chip pass hasn't quite come off. McAllister. Gravenberg. Oh, that's a key interception. Side yet able to force a breakthrough here. Danso. Gray. And Danso. Pedro Porro. It's Bentancur. Tell. Alexander-Arnold did well to step in there. That was more than necessary. Darwin. Nunez! He has hit that forcefully.
Well, he does strike a very pure ball, doesn't he? It's great technique.
Pedro Porro. Pedro Porro. Now it's Kulusevski. And he's on. Can he finish? Oh, the keeper's done ever so well.
Well, you get a sense, Peter, that he could almost get to anything today.
And that is as far as they're going to go. Well seen, saw that coming.
That's great positioning, so good from him.
Can he spark a counter here? McAllister. And here's Nunez. Diaz. Gray, looking for options for movement. And the counter is on. Pedro Porro. He's played him through. And the flag has stayed down. That is lovely. And it's hoisted clear.
This is the time you need that pace.
Now it's Foden. Now it's Diaz. Diaz going face to face with his great rival.
Nunez really was well marshalled there because he was denied the opportunity to turn.
Danso. And it's ended up in no man's land. Darwin. Now it's Diogo Jota. He's going for goal! And for a moment, time stood still.
Well, one sloppy lapse like that could do a lot of damage, and it was triggered by the closing down.
Sa. Tell.
This is what good chemistry is all about.
McAllister did well to emerge with the ball. That's a contest to keep an eye on. Oh, he'll be annoyed at himself for not getting there. Bentancur, Davis, Spence, and it's Davis. Great ball if he can get there, and he's in on goal, and the shot! Gray. There is the half-time whistle. Truth be told, perhaps it's not the game that many anticipated, but there is lots to be seen in it, lots to be taken from it. Plenty for the key figures to mull over, but it remains goalless. So we reach the halfway point.
What an end to the half, Peter. A lot of the best action of the half coming at the very end, and I get the feeling the second half may well start in similar fashion, as we'd love to see this momentum maintained. So I'm looking forward to what's to come.
So they head in no further forward. The score here, still 0-0. That gets things going for the second half. So first half brought no goals. He's had it taken off him. Now it's Diogo Jota. Now it's Darwin. Deftly done. All up with that dink over the top. McAllister. And the shot! Oh, that is really good tenacity. They've played it short.
Well, he got rid because he was under pressure.
Played over towards the opposite flank. Robertson. Diaz. Diaz will not want to lose out here, not against this opponent. Diaz.
That was lovely, that.
And that's been intercepted.
That was well played, well stopped.
Here comes another. He gets big! And he has kept it out somehow.
Diogo Jota really must be thinking what he has to do to score there.
Best part of an hour, and still no breakthrough from either side. And that interception was most necessary.
He read that really well and stopped it.
And Dijk gets across to intercept that. Gravenberg. A deeply frustrating game so far. Certainly in terms of the scoreline, it remains 0-0. Oh, he's getting hounded, really hounded. Sarr. Loose ball now, and there's a chase on to retrieve it.
It's about risk-taking and boldness now. Are we going to see any activity from the bench?
It's Diaz. Has a goal!
He did so well to create the room to get the shot away.
Pedro Porro. Gray. Bentancur. The pass is intercepted. Van Dijk. And Konate. Robertson. Diaz. He's got space in the area.
Yeah, they were looking for a counter-attack.
Diaz. Robertson. Shota. He's got all. There's a goal! That is how you do it. A goal to launch his new life, his new chapter.
That looks like a preconceived plan. Win the ball and then unleash.
Liverpool can now introduce the first of their substitutes. Gakpo coming on here, a change that was broadly anticipated.
Yeah, I think it's time for fresh legs. Looks like a popular decision as they're going all out for this now.
Coming on the field.
So we have had the first significant moment. It is 1-0.
Because of that first goal now, it's a great opportunity to make a one-way traffic and add to this lead.
Robertson. That is a great pick out.
There's a real appetite from them to finally put this game to bed, but will they?
Plays a delicate ball. That's a nicely measured pass. It's a goal kick. Liverpool making consecutive changes here. Son Heung-min to come on, a change that had been mooted for a while.
Yeah, it's no doubt a positive one. They want to make sure they finish the job from here.
Number 22, Phil Foden.
Liverpool still ahead by the game's only goal. Liverpool will have one further opportunity to make a substitution after this, their latest change. Van Dijk, he's got away. Now it's McAllister. And it's Son Heung-min. Tell. Gakpo.
I think it's time for them to concentrate on closing this one out.
Muscular approach does pay off here. Liverpool needed that. They really needed it.
Yeah, they showed a vulnerability until the move was stifled. That'll have stirred a little concern. They're avoiding the blatantly obvious by not getting the ball into the opposition box. That's where it has to be.
Nicely intercepted. Son Heung-min. Gakpo. Diaz. Shapes to shoot! They've done it! Two ahead, late in the day. Game over, surely.
Well, we've seen the hunger to win it back and the focus to make it count. A very tasty combination.
Liverpool could not have picked a better time to snatch a two-goal lead. Is there still time for a response?
Well, that's a really bitter blow. I think it's going to be very hard for them to find the character to respond from that.
Referee looks at his watch and blows his whistle. Liverpool have done it. The perfect outcome in this most pressured of games. So what do you take away from it all, Jim?
Well, it's pretty clear that there was a solid game plan in place for what was a very high-pressure game. I think it shows great maturity on the part of the players, and it was, for me, well-deserved and well-earned.
That's it for tonight's match, so it just remains for me to thank Jim Beglin alongside me and to wish you all a very good evening.
Attendees, this is a lost children's announcement. Would the father of a boy in a blue hat kindly make his way to the information center?
welcome for the first time this season to everybody around the world, and we have for you a clash of two teams with very similar intentions. A statement win at the expense of the other would be the ideal scenario for both. A flying start is certainly required. Such scenes here, a sea of team colours, songs ringing down from the stands. The tone is set for the 90 minutes ahead. And already we're underway here. And here's the chance to counter. Well played, that has snuffed out the danger. Diaz powering forward here. Well, the defence proved infallible then, but that won't be the last they'll see of him. They found themselves penned in, nowhere to go. That is a great pick out. Out for a throw. Big header! Good delivery, but no joy.
No, that was a slick move, and there were several options in the box to pick out.
Robertson cuts it out. He's got away. Tavernier. Now, can he find a finish? Jim, who do you reckon is pivotal?
Yeah, the goalkeeper, Kepa. He never seems to get flustered or lose his composure. That kind of calmness is infectious too, and should help the defence in front of him play with a little more confidence. He's also good on the ball, so keep an eye out for those quick passes to the forward line.
Okay, interesting. And now a sudden chance to counter. That's surely a foul. Free kick. Diaz, he is through here. Real chance! Well, that is rather wayward.
What a fabulous run. Okay, it didn't come off in the end, Peter, but that would surely spark some kind of response from those around him.
Eva Nielsen, Scott, still goalless. Hits one! Goal!
Yeah, I'd call that transition with bite. They won it back and bit hard.
So the first moment of real significance.
Yeah, it's rare that one is enough though, Peter. I get the feeling they'll be wanting another as soon as possible.
Eva Nielsen! Eva Nielsen! Oh, that is very close.
Ah, that's a great effort. There was very little backlift to indicate what was coming.
Turns back here, probably the best option. Scott.
Well, I wouldn't quite advise they should resort to risk-taking at this stage. There's plenty of time left yet. That's just playing it safe and simple. They'll want to make the most of this turnover. Well, he certainly wasn't in the mood to take any risks.
Well seen, saw that coming.
He read that really well and stopped it.
Adams.
Just as I thought, Peter, it looks like this is a side that's setting themselves up for a counter-attack.
Yeah, stand by for the early ball, the big one over the top.
Yeah, and those that are up top, Peter, have to be willing to chase. And of course, those in midfield have to be ready now to recycle.
And they have got just the right players for that. Now he's off and running. Oh, and he's through the middle. Semenyo has it out wide and in space. A reprieve, albeit perhaps momentary. Well, that is one way to stop him. Alexander-Arnold with the challenge, and he has given away a free kick. And just to confirm that the referee did issue a yellow card for that earlier incident. Oh, it's a beauty! A finish right from the top draw! A two-goal cushion, and it's looking safe! Well, that was wonderful in every regard. Vision, concept, and considerable accuracy.
Well, he made it look effortless. Clearly a training ground perfectionist.
Bournemouth are since... Can he finish? Oh, he's managed to get it all wrong.
Beautifully worked to take the defence out of the picture, but there'll be no rush to see the replay on this.
Cook. Can he get it through? Well, the chip pass hasn't quite come off. Gravenberg. He's in plenty of space here.
Oh, that's such a good run. More of that, please.
The referee's awarded a free kick. Probably be looking to play it square from here. Zabani attempts a clearance. Konate. Tavernier. Eva Nielsen. He's through here. Tavernier. Bout of passing here, really easy on the eye. He gets big! No, he couldn't get the direction he needed.
Well, being able to generate that amount of activity in the box means it's hard not to pick someone out.
Eva Nielsen. Diaz. Lobbed in behind. Corner given, and this could be the final action of the first half. Alexander-Arnold with the short one. Decent hit! Yes, it's there! And right on half-time, that is telling. No space, no problem. You just cannot stop him.
Well, at one stage, he was being body checked, Peter, and then the next minute, it's in the back of the net. That's wonderful striking.
There's the half-time whistle. Well, the two sides have made this a pretty decent game so far. Both have contributed on the score sheet. There's a balance wherever you look. It is quite a game, breathless and laced with excitement.
Well, it's still anyone's game, as both sides have shown they have goals in them. As for the next one, should it arrive, that may have a bigger bearing as to who emerges victorious.
And the game has already resumed here.
Well, I think starting this half in a strong manner is essential, Peter, if you're chasing the game, which they are. You know, go with intent and purpose. Let your opponents know you're not just going to quietly bow down.
Robertson is offering some sort of an apology there.
He made it look a bit predictable.
And it's Smith. McAllister getting this one clear. Well, they've got it again. Little pass back.
Modern football for you and all that pressing.
That's a good intervention. That was what he had to make in the face of danger that was growing. Cook. Diaz. Eva Nielsen. He's going to be disappointed with that. Howson gets rid without sophistication. Smartly reclaimed. So can they find a way to turn round this deficit? Semenyo.
It's the sort of situation that they'll want to capitalise on now. Well, the manager must be thinking to himself whether he's got a game changer on that bench, and he needs to act quick.
Can he put it away? He scores!
Look, that was a technical interaction of great football. That has gone down a treat.
Well, that has changed the dynamic somewhat.
Well, that goal should be a big game changer. It's certainly been a big mood changer.
Scott. And it's Smith. Tavernier. Allison can pick that up. Jota might just make this. Cook. Nicely aimed pass. It's a loose ball. McAllister. Evan Nielsen does really well to win the ball there. Cook. Scott. Van Dijk makes the interception. McAllister. Jota. Oh, good read.
That's great positioning. So good from him.
Semenyo. Here's Adams. Nicely intercepted. Jota. Oh, a delicate chip through. Not pretty, but it gets the job done. Bournemouth do have a chance to counter here. Oh, no question, that's a foul. And that's going to be a booking.
Substitution in progress.
Smith. Smith stood his ground strongly. And they've got a throw. Liverpool making consecutive changes here.
Well, his stamina was called into question then, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with his heart and the efforts he put in. He was very willing, though, not quite able.
Liverpool are making a change. After this, just one opportunity to do so. And he's there to clear it. Well, the idea was a good one. The execution of it, not quite so.
Yeah, the idea was right. The delivery wasn't. They can revisit that further on.
He's picked his way through.
Well played and well cleared.
A throw. Oh, shooting chance! And that would have been game, set and match.
Well, his movement has certainly picked up. He's got that decisive goal on his mind.
Jones. Scott. Ava Nielsen. Whistle's gone, that's a foul. The referee has resisted the temptation to go to his pocket. It's just a stern lecture. His head to it! Oh, just couldn't turn it in.
Well, plenty of moving targets to pick out in the box. Obviously increases your chances of the ball being met like that by someone.
Evan Nielsen! Oh, the keeper's done ever so well.
Evan Nielsen clearly thought he had the beating of the keeper.
Punched away. Liverpool are looking to go forward now. Smith kept aware, and it is reclaimed easily. Howson. Kerkez. With officials showing that there will be 3 minutes of added time. And he's managed to get free. Cook. That is a brilliant interception. Jones. And now the breakaway. Jota running with the ball. That's beautifully weighted. And they've got rid. And that is it. The referee has seen enough. So that is it. The end of the road. How do you look back on the game then, Jim? Well, the premise of the tournament is simple. Every team, of course, is striving to make the latter stages. That's where they all want to be. No doubt these two harbour very similar ambitions. A good show here, absolutely crucial. And we have in front of us this gloriously imposing arena. Absolutely perfect for a game of this nature. And already we're underway here. And here's Jota. Now that's well seen too. It's a quick ball upfield. Well, that's beautifully weighted. A slightly better ball would have led to a very different outcome there.
Quality deserted them when they really needed it.
This is good pressing, they're not short on bodies, and he's picked it up out wide. Back in possession and ready to go again. And it's Iheanacho. Jota. Been a rather gentle affair so far. Played into space out wide. Chance! Oh, poor contact, nothing on the shot.
Another example of how comfortable this team is on the break.
And here's Iheanacho. He is through here.
Look, movement creates more options, and that was really sharply done.
Threads one in. And that's been intercepted.
That was well played, well stopped.
Well, that's not the cross he had in mind. Robertson. That's tidy. They're Yes, great running on show here, but ultimately there was no way through. He steps in, and that's the end of that. That's really well manoeuvred. That looks a good ball through. Shot! Can't be expected to deliver anything better than that. This is heroic keeping. Illing Jr. Still goalless at the moment. Oh, well played, well sorted out. That's Darwin. Tries a shot! And he thumps it clear. Possession football, Jim, we're seeing plenty of it. What is it, though, that really makes it work?
Well, for me, what makes it work is the fact that everyone in this team has the courage to show for the ball. You can't shy away from it. You can't hide. You have to front up in a setup like this, and everyone is doing just that.
You make it sound so simple. And he was quick to react. Fry. Howson. Illing Jr. Can he latch on to this? And he's onside! Oh, great chance! He's made sure that's not getting through. McAllister and Diaz. No, he wasn't going to be fooled.
Well, it's a move of great promise, but will it really prove productive?
And it's Iheanacho. Still looking for the first breakthrough, and it is nearly half-time now.
Yeah, he's pulled him up for that challenge. Yeah, well, they were exposed and vulnerable, and he knew he had to do something to prevent a goal then.
Going to be first to this. Cleared without complication. Gravenberg, Liverpool are looking to break at pace. McAllister, out to the left it goes. Well seen, saw that coming.
That's great positioning, so good from him.
Iheanacho.
It's the sort of situation that they'll want to capitalise on now. That's just playing it safe and simple.
Out for a throw. And that is expertly dealt with. Shifted it to the flank. And he's picked out the run. Couldn't quite squeeze that one through. The whistle for half-time. Well, perhaps not full of thrills and spills, but a game which has been of a very high level, certainly defensively, as both teams walk off unscathed. A tight affair, 0-0 at the break. An engrossing half, but we're still where we started, 0-0. So off we go once more.
So the first half brought no goals. Illing Junior. Oh, lovely bit of skill. Over to the left. Oh, played through for the wide man. That's very neat. Corner given. Last-ditch defending, but that'll do. Liverpool are looking to go forward now. He's in plenty of space here. Robertson is charging up on the overlap. It'll be a throw-in. Cleared without hesitation. Oh, what a ball he's in here! That is a brilliant interception. 0-0 still. It's a game that needs a bit of life injected. And he's been shifted off it. It looked as though that might lead to something quite promising, but it turned out that that was not the case. And now the breakaway. That's good vision. And into the grateful arms of the keeper.
The attendance for this match was 28,900.
Just about up to the hour now. A deeply frustrating game so far. Certainly in terms of the scoreline, it remains 0-0.
It's about risk-taking and boldness now. Are we going to see any activity from the bench?
Oh, good read.
He read that really well and stopped it.
Howson, Illing Junior. And it's Iheanacho. He was under real pressure there. Oh, well played, well played. And he has slightly undercooked that one.
Look, the game is full of ifs and buts. If only the pass could have completed its journey.
Gravenberg. Now Foden. McAllister being hunted in packs.
Look, stopping him is imperative. It may not eliminate trouble, but it'll reduce it.
Now, what about a counter-attack? All is over the line. So the manager can make a change for the first time in the game here.
Well, this could be a bit of a nightmare scenario for the defence, as you're going to be facing a very willing runner now, especially one that likes to make those runs beyond the defensive line.
Coming on to replace him is number 9, Gakpo.
And that interception was most necessary.
That's great positioning, so good from him.
Ah, now can they counter? It's a throw-in. Liverpool making consecutive changes here.
Well, this could be an indication that the team are setting themselves up for the counter-attack here, Peter, and he is very good at that type of thing.
Lovely feet. And it's pulled back. Oh, smashing header! Harmlessly behind. Liverpool will have one further opportunity to make a substitution after this, their latest change. And it's Iheanacho.
Well, they deserve an awful lot of credit for their commitment to the cause, but it's a goal credit that would be most welcome now.
He's got away. Illing Junior tries to clear. Big chance!
Extraordinarily, it is still goalless here. This was supposed to be a one-sided game.
How many interceptions have we seen now? Oh, they could be caught out here.
And he's managed to get free. Iheanacho. Played out towards the right wing. Interesting ball. Gravenberg. Oh, they could break here. Chiesa. He's looking to win it for them. Gravenberg.
You wonder if that's it now, but there may be one more opportunity, Peter, for a late steal here.
It's a little off target. Iheanacho.
They've got to be quick moving this forward. Yeah, we get to see this more and more. Defenders popping up in these positions.
90 minutes up, and we will be back for extra time.
Well, the scoreline may have a disappointing look about it, Peter, but that's where it ends. I think this game has had a real lively feel, and I'm not ready to give up on it yet.
So a short respite for the players as they prepare themselves for another 30 minutes.
Substitution on the field. Number 38.
Stern test this for the endurance, for the character of the players as we head into extra time. It's a good ball out wide. Soboslai. He comes flying in. Great effort. He flew in with courage.
A good attempt. The ball was at a lovely height too.
And it's Iheanacho. It's Iheanacho! Chiesa. And it's Son Heung-min. Gakpo. He could be in here. Now it's Diaz. Loose ball now, and there's a chase on to retrieve it. That is good. Super running, sharp movement. Came up against a defender, though, who was ever so determined. And here's Son Heung-min. Oh, shooting chance! Oh, that's incredible! And that's got to be it! That has got to be it!
That looks like a preconceived plan. Win the ball and then unleash.
They have what they wanted, the first breakthrough. Fry. That is a great pick out. He has found a way through. And the finish!
Chiesa. They need to play this quicker in transitions like this.
And that's it for the first half of extra time. 90 minutes long gone, 15 of an extra 30 have also gone, and the search for a winner is still on. Truly, this is a punishing game on bodies and heads and minds. The outstanding question, the only question, is there still room for one last bit of drama? So the last chance to find a winner. This has been enthralling. So what do the last 15 minutes have left? Shot a goal! He scored! They are right back in business.
Well, that's something that'll make the manager proud, because they dug in deep then and they've got their leveller. Yeah, they were made to pay for not moving the ball smartly enough through a very strong pressing wave.
Number 22.
Middlesbrough grab the equaliser and we're all square. Alexander-Arnold, Chiesa. Great skill, that's nice. Well, what about it? From the cusp of victory to the cusp of desperation. Strokes it back.
Oh, that's good pressure. It gave him no other choice.
And it's Iheanacho, played into space out wide. Chiesa. Throw it. Jones, he's through here. Diaz, now there's a fine ball. Now the finish! Well, he should have done better, and he knows it.
A more than decent attempt, Peter. Look, there has to be more urgency here. The ball has to get to the other end much faster.
Ball has bounced loose now. Gakpo, he's got the shot away! Great build-up. It all deserved a better ending.
It's easy to say it, but difficult to stop it when runs in behind are being made like that.
That'll be a throw-in.
Added time.
Robertson is in a really good position out wide. information. We are headed for penalties.
Look, I've been in this position myself, and after a grueling game, you don't want to back down if the manager asks you to take a penalty for fear of appearing weak. You can't let fatigue cloud your judgment.
Pressure and nerve. After 2 inconclusive hours, it is penalties.
And he does it with poise. I thought he did really well to hold his nerve then and score that penalty.
Iheanacho is the next man in the spotlight. Coolly done, 1 each.
He just did what he was asked.
So, the second man in line. Oh, it's a really good save.
Oh, that's a super save from the keeper.
So, the second man in line. Big character, big moment, big save. Gakpo is third in line. Oh, it's come off the bar.
Oh, that's unlucky. Got almost everything right.
The third man in the queue. Oh, good take. Keeper committed himself.
How confident was that? Backed himself all the way.
Liverpool from one behind.
Well, he totally nailed that penalty. Picked a spot, didn't change.
He steps up to take the 4th penalty. No! Denied remarkably!
He's so focused there. Fantastic save.
Chiesa is the 5th volunteer.
You need a very strong mind in those situations. Any penalty that goes in is a good one.
Middlesbrough at the point of no return. It's in, he's kept them in it. 3 each. Some could barely watch here, every kick potentially pivotal. And the keeper's come up trumps.
Well, he had a little look at the goalkeeper, and maybe that put him off.
Can the goalkeeper come up with a moment? Oh, brilliant! He had to save it, and he did! So is this to be lucky 7? We shall see.
Well, he totally nailed that penalty, picked a spot, didn't change.
Middlesbrough must score here to stay in it. Dispatched! There will be more of this.
I thought he did really well to hold his nerve then and score that penalty.
And incredibly, we're up to 8. Saved! Keeper's done brilliantly.
He's so focused there. Fantastic save.
So he walks up to the spot and puts the ball down. Alisson must save it. And there it is, the decisive kick. Liverpool are beaten and they are out. And after all of that, Jim, what are you thinking?
Well, what can I say, Peter? It seemed like the enormity of the task got the better of the players, and they never really got going. I know it can happen to even the best of us, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this was a painful watch, very painful.
Hello, everybody.
So just time for me to say thanks to Jim for his wisdom and to wish you all a very good evening.
FM station.